than the Vikings have seen all year, and they're going to be playing one of the top teams in the Midwest, the St. Xavier Tigers. On the mound for the Tigers is going to be the left-hander Caden Ford. This is his first start of the year. His last appearance against Noblesville, he went 2 innings pitched, allowed 2 runs. His battery mate is going to be Ryan Camella. Around him in the infield is going to be Cooper Smith at third, Landon Akers at short, Jack Thompson at second base, and Jake Greger is the first baseman. Behind them in the outfield, Tice Flaker is in left, Kyle Krupp is in center, and Ben Brunig is in right. The shortstop, Rob Tate, the right fielder, Jason Ballard, the DH, Preston Lund, the left fielder, Isaiah White, the second baseman, Corey Mulling, the catcher, Josh Moore, the third baseman, Jacob Gunn, and the first baseman, Demir Heidelberg. So we're going to get this game underway, and hopefully it's going to be another Vikings win. Leading things off for the Vikings here in this top of the first inning, it's going to be the center fielder, Dylan Head. Head went 2 for 3 with a home run in the Vikings game yesterday as he sends the first pitch over the shortstop's head. Landon Akers, Kyle Krupp up with it in center field, holds Dylan Head to a single. Head has speed, so it's very important that these outfielders get to the ball quickly. But Dylan Head lines the first pitch into center field for a leadoff single for the Vikings, something that he has done so many times for the Vikings. And in stands Rob Tate, the shortstop. Tate went 0 for 3 with a walk yesterday in the Vikings' loss against Marist, 9-8. Marist had a late inning comeback. Pitch from Krupp. In there for strike 1. Head, long lead at first. Forward to lefty has a move, and he shows it there. Head back in there safely. No trouble for him. Read Ford's move very well. Pickoff attempt. Head takes off. Pickoff attempt is over the shortstop Akers' head. And Dylan Head is going to be in there at second base. An error on the first baseman, Jake Greger. Jake Greger. It has Dylan Head on second base with nobody out. So Rob Tate with an opportunity to give the Vikings an early lead here. Has an 0-1 count on him. Tate squares bunt, pulls back, takes strike 2. Tate trying to advance Head to third there on a sacrifice bunt. You can see first baseman Jake Greger in on the cut of the artificial grass as Tate takes ball 1 upstairs. The Vikings are coming off a 9-8 loss against Marist High School in Illinois yesterday. Their late inning comeback gave the Vikings their first loss in 3 games as Tate takes ball 2 low and outside. The Vikings were coming off of 2 big wins over Kankakee and Shepherd, 12-2 and 13-0 respectively. Tell you about the Tigers' last 3 games after this 2-2 pitch to Rob Tate. Swing and a miss from Tate, a fastball at the letters got by Rob Tate for the first out of the Vikings in top of the first. The St. Xavier Tigers are 1-2 in their last 3 games. Some close contests against Santa Margarita. They lost 2-1, and they lost 4-3 against Blessed Trinity. And then in their last game, they're coming off of a win 3-1 against Bishop Verot. But in steps the right fielder, Jason Ballard. He takes ball 1 high and outside. Ballard was 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs yesterday. Looking to add to that RBI total. He's got 6 on the year, hoping for his 7th and possibly 8th if he gets a hold of one. He chases low, bringing the count to 1-1. This is the first of 2 contests between these teams. They will play tomorrow at the same time, at the same place. Count is even, 1-1 to the right fielder, Ballard. Pitch from Ford is in there for strike 2. So a heavy dosage of fastballs for the Vikings here in the top of the first. Ballard behind in the count, 1-2. Pickoff attempt. Ford comes up empty as second baseman Jack Thompson was not covering the bag, but that's just a move to get in the head of Dylan Head. Just to know that Ford is thinking about him. Can't let him get too big of a lead over there, as he will swipe third easily. He takes off anyway, and Ballard sends it right to the shortstop, Akers, and that's going to be an inning-ending double play. A hit-and-run attempt for the Vikings comes up empty in the worst way possible, and the Tigers erase a leadoff single from Dylan Head, and the Vikings are going to take the field in the bottom of the first with the score tied 0-0. On the hill for the Vikings is the 6'6" lefty, Evan Nieder. This is his first start. He's primarily a bullpen pitcher, but his last outing against Kankakee went 1 inning pitched with 1 strikeout. Leading things off for the Tigers is going to be the left fielder, Tice Flaker. This is Flaker's first appearance in a while for the Tigers, as he sends the first one out into shallow center field for Head, and that's going to be in there in front of Head, as Flaker's going to try and take second as nobody was covering, and he's going to be in there with a leadoff double. So Tice Flaker, using his speed and knowledge of the game to know that that was in no man's land between Tate, Mulling, and Head, and nobody was home to cover second base. Is Josh Moore, his first start at catcher of this season. He's primarily an outfielder, as that ball gets by Josh Moore, and Flaker is going to take a hard turn at third, but goes back to third as Nieder was covering. But this is the shortstop, Landon Akers. In their last game against Bishop Verot, he was 1 for 3 with a run scored, but he's got a runner on third base and only 2 pitches thrown for Evan Nieder. The 1-0. Low again. Ball 2. The outfield for the Vikings is Isaiah White in left, Dylan Head in center, and Jason Ballard in right. But the 2-0 pitch to Akers. Swung on in between Rob Tate and Jacob Gunn at third and short, and that's going to score the first run of the game for the St. Xavier Tigers. Tigers take a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first over the Homewood-Flossmoor Vikings. The third baseman, Cooper Smith, stands in for the Tigers. He went 1 for 3 against Blessed Trinity, not the last game for the Tigers, but the game before that. He takes curveball in the dirt. Good block by Moore to keep that one in front of him. Neater comes set. 1-0 pitch to Akers. Lined into the right center field gap, and Jason Ballard over to his left. He's going to make the play. So Ballard, ranging to his left, retires Cooper Smith on a line drive into the right center field gap. First baseman Jake Greger stands in for the Tigers now. He was 0 for 3 against their win over Bishop Perot. Pickoff attempt from Neater. Demir Heidelberg picks it, and he's going to have no play as Landon Akers swipes second base off of the first move by Evan Neater. Akers was going the second he saw Neater's leg come up. And it worked, as he's now standing on second base as opposed to first where he was. But now Jake Greger has a runner in scoring position. Any single into the outfield will score Akers, as that curveball from Neater is in there for strike one. Neater comes set. The 1 pitch. The right fielder Ben Brunig is the batter for the Tigers. He went 2 for 2 with a run scored, an RBI, and a walk in their last game. He's got runners on the corners and only 1 out here in this bottom of the first inning. That ball from Greger just hit the plate and bounded all the way pretty much until the infield dirt, well, brown-colored turf. So Demir Heidelberg was kind of tied up as that ball is off the plate for ball 1. One of the middle infielders, or even Jacob Gunn at third. Pickoff attempt. As that gets by Demir Heidelberg, and the Tigers are going to take another one. And Greger's going to try for third, and he's going to be in there safely. So Coach McCarthy coming out to the mound now. Great start for Neater. Neater hasn't had the best control, but he isn't exactly known for being a pinpoint pitcher like some of the others on this Viking staff. You wonder if nerves are getting to him, or perhaps just the change of going from a bullpen pitcher to starting games, as it's a whole different approach to pitching when you're starting the game or coming in relief. But Ben Brunig still up to the plate for the Tigers. He's got a 1-1 count on him. And Jake Greger is on second base as he was sent back, as I think the ball got stuck in the fence, so Demir Heidelberg couldn't get it out, but still the runner in scoring position. And that fastball is spiked. Good block by. So the double play is now not in order. Sounds fouled back. 2-2. Unless, however, Brunig lines into a double play like we saw Jason Ballard do in the top of the first inning. Would be shocked if they do a hit and run, but you never know. The 2-2 pitch. The right fielder, Brunig, is lined up the middle, and that's going to be in there in left center field for a base hit. And Gregor is going to be held up at third base, so it's going to go down as a long single as Gregor had to hold up at second base because the thought of Dylan Head ranging over to his left and catching that ball was in his head. That sends Ron Camella to the dish. The catcher was 1 for 3 in his last appearance. He's got runners on the corners yet again, and only 1 out. Tigers threatening to blow this game open early. Pitch from Nieder. Swing and a miss awkwardly from Camella. That back foot slider from Nieder handcuffed Camella. Has him ahead in the count 0-1. Nieder comes set. Another back foot slider has Camella swinging over the top of it. 0-2. See if Nieder goes back to that back foot slider or potentially switching it up to maybe a high fastball. Has set him up nicely for 1 here. The 0-2 pitch to Camella. Fastball in the dirt. Ball 1. Moore having a chat with Nieder. It's quick, not as extensive as the one McCarthy had. One-two from Nieder. Hits Camella off the back of his foot, and that's going to load the bases here in this bottom of the first inning for the Tigers. That one looked like it hit off his back foot, off the heel of his back foot. But either way, it's going to be the bases loaded for the designated hitter, Luke Wright. One swing of the bat for Wright could have the Tigers up 6-0 very early on. That first pitch from Nieder's in there for strike 1. Outfield playing pretty straight up on Luke Wright. Head is the only one shaded a tiny bit to the left of second base, as that one's hit on the ground to Malling at second base. The flip to Tate, over to Demir Heidelberg. That's a 4-6-3 double play. So the Tigers threatened to score much more than the 2 that they did, but they come up empty as a Luke Wright double play ends the bottom of the first for the Tigers. But they score 2 and take the lead 2-0 over the Vikings. At the end of the first inning, it's the Tigers 2, Vikings Leading things off here in this top of the second inning, it's going to be the DH Preston Lund. It's his first time not catching for the Vikings, as he is the Vikings' primary backstop. But he sends the first pitch from forward into right field, and that's going to be over Ben Bruning's head. And Preston Lund is going to be waved towards third. No, stopped at second base, and now he's going to try for third as that throw sailed over the shortstop's head. And Preston Lund is going to be on third base with a leadoff double and advancing to third on the air. Isaiah White steps in for the Vikings. He's batting .450 on the year. Good sign for the Vikings, as hopefully they can get Lund in from third. Swing and a miss. That fastball from Ford blew by Isaiah White. The one from Ford. Popped into center field. Going in on it. Lund is going to be try to tag, and he is going to be in there safely with the Vikings' first run of the day. So a sacrifice fly from Isaiah White cuts the Tigers' lead in half, and the score is 2-1. Second baseman Corey Mulling steps in for the Vikings. He fouls off the first pitch from Ford. Ford winds. The 1 pitch. Hit on the ground to Gregor at first base. He'll handle it himself. And that's going to be the second out of this Vikings top of the second inning.
Now batting, the catcher, number 6, Josh Moore.
Catcher Josh Moore steps in for the Vikings. He went 2 for 4 with 2 doubles yesterday in the Vikings' loss against Marist. He sends one into the air. Krupp coming in on it. Started back, has to come in now, and he settles under it for the third out of this Vikings top of the second inning. So a quick top of the second, but the Vikings do score as they cut the Tigers' lead to 1, and the score at the end of the top of the second, it's the Tigers 2 and the Vikings 1. Evan Nieder back on the mound for the Vikings. The Tigers are going to send their 8, 9, and then the top of their order to the plate in the bottom of the second. Leading off in the bottom of the second is going to be Jack Thompson, the second baseman. His last game against Blessed Trinity, he went 2 for 2 with a run scored. A long bottom of the first inning for Nieder. Hopefully he can breeze through the second, as the first pitch is low for ball 1. Hit into center field. Head in on it. Easy play for the center fielder, Dylan Head. That's going to be the first out of the bottom of the second inning. So 2 pitches, 1 out for Nieder. That's a good sign for things to come, hopefully, as he threw a lot of pitches in the bottom of the first. It's going to be important for him to go deep into this game, as the Vikings have 3 games in 3 days. That first one, a bit wide. 1-0. Nieder works from the stretch with no runners on, electing not to use the windup. That pitch to Kyle Krupp, the center fielder's in there for strike 1. Center fielder was 0 for 2 with a walk in the Tigers' last game. That 1-1 pitch is painted on the outside corner for strike 2. That fastball had some tail to it, and it tailed right back in over the black of the home plate. 1-2 pitch from Nieder. Curveball inside, ball 2. Moore wanted that outside, but Nieder couldn't get that ball to break over the outer third. He left it in. Count is even, 2-2. That ball was just off the plate, bringing the count to a full 3-2. That full count pitch is fouled back. Keeping the count at a full 3-2. So we'll do the full count pitch one more time. That one's grounded on the ground to Jacob Gunn. Demir Heidelberg was pulled off the bag, but he had to tag Kyle Krupp for the second out of the inning. So the first 2 batters for the Tigers are retired in this bottom of the second inning, but that turns. Wind is blowing here in Louisville. Flakers calls time. Wind is blowing center, maybe a bit more left of center. Oh, 1 pitch from Nieder. His hat flies off, and so does the ball. That ball was just a tad bit high and outside, as Nieder's hat came off and impaired his windup. I don't think that Nieder expected the wind to gust that fast as he was doing his motion. He waited until the wind had paused, but then right as he started, it picked back up again. Count is 1-1. Count is now 1-2 on the leadoff man, Tice Flaker. So Nieder trying to go 1-2-3 after a 7-batter bottom of the first inning. The 1-2 pitch to Flaker. Curveball, left it high, 2-2. Once again, Nieder's hat flies off his head, has to go corral it. Two pitch to Flaker. Lined into the gap in front of Isaiah White, and Tice Flaker has another base hit. 2 for 2 on the day with a double and a single. Landon Akers, the shortstop, stands in for the Tigers. He singled to left field his first time up, scoring Flaker from third. Flaker has speed, so Nieder will have to be careful of that. That curveball's in the dirt, and Flaker's going to take off, and he's going to be in there at second base with a stolen base. Josh Moore blocked it, but Flaker decided to run anyway, and he was rewarded with second base. So count is 1-0 on Akers, the shortstop. That curveball bends in there for strike number 1. Count is even, 1-1 on number 11. One's all over the place. That curveball just off the plate, ball 2. Nieder got 2 quick outs here in this bottom of the second, but then a single from Flaker extended the inning. And after a 2-1 ball, he's threatening to walk Landon Akers. The 3-1 pitch. Did not go. Akers checked his swing, and ball 4 is outside. So the Tigers have runners on first and second with 2 outs. And Flaker thought about rounding third and taking home, but good hustle from Moore stops him from doing so. But both runners move up 90 feet, so the Tigers have 2 runners in scoring position now with 2 outs. Vikings outfield is shifted towards the pull side for Smith. Ballard playing in about the spot where he caught his last line drive. The 1-0 pitch to Smith. Top of the zone, in there for strike 1. The 1-1 pitch from Nieder. Curveball in there for strike 2. Good 12-6 action on that curveball. Has Nieder ahead in the count 1-2. Trying to strand 2 runners on in this bottom of the second inning for the Tigers. 1-2 pitch. Curveball yanked foul down the third base line. So we'll do it again. The 1-2 pitch to Cooper Smith. Fastball fouled off yet again. Good protection swing there from Smith, as that one was too close to take. He's likely trying to shoot that one between Moore and Heidelberg, between second and first, as that hole is definitely open for Smith to take as he calls time, steps out. Count is still 1-2. Pitch, curveball, outside, ball 2. That curveball didn't break the way Nieder wanted it. Didn't get on top of it enough. Pitch to Smith. Fastball hit on the ground to Gunn and Tate. Tate can't come up with it, and that's going to be another run for the Tigers. That's likely going to go down as an error on Rob Tate. But Jacob Gunn was ranging to his left, and he slid in front of Tate, hindering himself from making a play. But that's going to send the first baseman, Jake Greger, up to the dish. He grounded a ball in between Nieder and Heidelberg at first base, getting himself an infield single, as lack of communication for the Vikings was in play there. But he's going to have runners on the corners and 2 outs, and the Tigers having a 2-run lead. outside. Nieder comes set. 1-0 pitch. Takes off. Fake throw from Moore. Does not get Akers to bite from third as Smith moves up 90 feet. So now Tigers yet again have runners on second and third with 2 outs. Count is 2-0 on Jake Greger. As he takes strike 1. Nieder got 2 quick outs in the bottom of the order for the Tigers, but then once the lineup card turned over, he's had some issues, retiring the first 3 in the Say Next lineup. 2-1 pitch. Curveball fouled down the first base line. 2-2. Nieder's come so close to finishing this inning so many times. Hopefully he can do it here. 2-2 pitch to Greger. Curveball hit on the ground to Gunn. Gunn make a backhand play, and a good pick by Demir Heidelberg has the Vikings' 3rd out of the inning. So at the end, no, there's going to be an appeal, as I believe the first base coach thought that Heidelberg's foot was off the bag. It would negate. Oh, it was a nice play by Jacob Gunn, but Demir Heidelberg was pulled off the bag. So the Tigers score yet another one, and the lead is now 4-1. That's probably an error on Demir Heidelberg. But either way, a run scores. So 2 errors with 2 outs in this bottom of the second inning have the Tigers back to a 3-run lead. That one is hit down the right field line, hooking, just foul. Ballard was shading towards the right center field gap. It was a long way to run. He would have had no play on it. Luckily, it dropped just foul. Tigers once again threatening to blow this game wide open. A 1 pitch from Nieder. Lined into left field, and another run's going to come across. The lead is now 5-1 for the St. Xavier Tigers, as Ben Brunig plays Cooper Smith from third base. Ryan Camella, the catcher, standing in now for the Tigers. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. He was then erased on a 4-6-3 double play to end the first. First pitch from Nieder is a curveball, high and outside. Yet again, 2-0. Nieder just needs to be consistent in that release point, as he's either too high or too low with that fastball. But then other times he's painting the corners of the zone, as tried to overcompensate there. That fastball was spiked. 3-0. Nieder has good stuff, but it's just a matter of knowing where it's going. Pitch. Low for ball 4. So that's going to load the bases. Luke Wright stepping in for the Tigers. He grounded into a 4-6-3 double play to end the first inning. All of these runs have come with 2 outs for the Tigers, as that first pitch is in the zone for strike number 1. Nieder got Jack Thompson and Kyle Krupp to make the first 2 outs of this bottom of the second inning, but has struggled since then, as that second pitch is just inside for ball number 1. Tigers have then gone single, walk, error, error, single, walk to net them 3 runs in this bottom of the second inning. Fouled back, 1 and 2. Nieder's had 2 strikes on 4 of the 6, now 7 batters that the Tigers have sent to the dish in this bottom of the second inning. Has yet to retire any of them. That ball hit softly on the ground. Heidelberg flips to Nieder, and Wright is going to beat out the play. A little jam shot single, plates 2, as both Gregor and Brunig came around to score. And the lead is now 7-1 for the Tigers.
The second baseman, number 8, Jack Thompson. 2 runs scored.
So the man who started this inning, Jack Thompson, is back up to the dish. He lined to center his first time up for the first out of this second inning. Pitch from Nieder is low for ball 1. Nieder is getting ahead in counts, but then just can't finish them. He's getting to 2 strikes on most of these Tigers hitters, but then they've done a good job of either fighting off pitches or just putting the ball in play. As the 1-0's hit, another little flare, and that's going to drop in no man's land between Heidelberg, Mulling, and Ballard, and that's going to plate yet another one for the Tigers, and the lead is now 7. A 6-run bottom of the second inning has the Tigers up 8-1. All 6 runs have come with 2 outs. Moore coming out to tell the infield what to do. Case Thompson steals. Potentially trying to catch Wright off third base, or maybe even just throwing through and trying to nab Thompson. Pitch to Krupp is low. Moore has no play as Thompson successfully stands on second base. So 8 straight base runners for the Tigers has them up 8-1 in this bottom of the second. 1-0 pitch from Nieder. Grounded to Demir Heidelberg at first. He's going to take it himself, sprinting to the bag, and that is going to finally be the end of the Tigers' bottom of the second inning. They score 6, all with 2 outs. So at the end of the second inning, it's the Tigers 8 and the Vikings 1. Jacob Gunn is going to start the Vikings top half of the third inning. This is his first start for the Vikings. He's mainly been used as a late inning defensive replacement. As he watches first pitch inside from Caden Ford. Swing and a miss from Gunn, evens the count at 1-1. Vikings are going to have some work to do if they want to get back in this game. They're already down 7. Gunn hits one on the ground to short. Akers up with it. Fires across his body to Gregor. Retires Gunn for the first out of the Vikings' third inning.
Now batting, the first baseman, number 31, Demir Heidelberg.
Demir Heidelberg, the sophomore first baseman, stepping in. He had a hot start to the year, but has since had a little bit of a cold streak. As he fouls off the first pitch. He's currently the Vikings' RBI leader with 13 and is batting .417 on the year, but in the last game against Marist, he was 0 for 4. His first game being held hitless all year. As he lines one into the left center field gap, and he will not be held hitless in this one. A one-out single for Demir Heidelberg has the Vikings with one runner on base for the leadoff man, Dylan Head.
Number 1, Dylan Head.
Head singled to center, his first time up to the plate. The number 1 recruit in Illinois, looking to cut this Tigers lead. He squares bunt, pulls back as that curveball was upstairs for ball 1. Third baseman Cooper Smith playing in on the cut of the grass, well, artificial grass. 1-0 pitch from Ford. Curveball yet again, off the plate. Ball 2. That was more of a slider than a curveball, but two-0 pitch to Head. Another fastball hit on the ground to Thompson. Thompson flips to second. No play at first base. And Demir Heidelberg is going to be called for interference, and that is going to be the end of the Vikings' top of the third inning. So a runner's interference ends the Vikings' inning, and no runs come across, and at the end of the top of the third inning, it's the Vikings 1 and the Tigers 8. Have a new pitcher on the mound for the Vikings. replacing the starter Evan Eater is going to be the righty Trenton Roseboro. He's going to be tasked with facing the Tigers' top of the order in Tice Flakers, excuse me. That first pitch is low for ball one. Flaker is 2 for 2 on the day with a double and a single, so he's halfway to the cycle. He chops one foul down the third base line. Good play by the third base coach, and a good throw. Back to Roseboro on the mound, but unfortunately, all of that is for nothing. It's a foul ball. But the count is even at 1-1. Flaker takes ball 2 off the plate. Roseboro working quickly. Flaker pops one in the air to right. Ballardboro hit on the ground to short. Rob Tate comes up with it, fires to Demir Heidelberg. That's going to be the second out of this in the bottom of the second, and then the Tigers scored 6 runs. So Trent Roseboro has to be able to finish the inning right here. Oh, 1-0 from Roseboro.
For the Vikings, number 30, Trenton Roseboro.
Cooper Smith is the batter for the Tigers. He's reached on an error and lined to right field. He chops one towards Jacob Gunn at third. Gunn up with it, and that is going to be the first 1-2-3 inning for the Vikings. An efficient bottom of the third inning for Trent Roseboro on the hill, and at the end of the third inning, it's the Tigers 8 and the Vikings 1. Rob Tate stepping in for the Vikings to lead off the away half of the fourth inning. Tate struck out his first time up. He takes ball one inside from Caden Ford. Ford back out there for his fourth inning of work. One 0 pitch. It's outside, ball 2. Vikings have gotten the leadoff man on in 2 of the 3 innings so far. Tate looking to make it 3 of 4 as he watches strike 1. Ford steps off. Evening the count at 2-2. Evening the count at 2-2. Wind is blowing yet again here in Louisville. As Ford steps off, perhaps waiting for the wind to die down a bit. He goes into his windup. 2-2 pitch. Curveball. Tate stays alive. Tate knew it. It was a bad swing on a bad pitch. But
Jason
either way, it's going to go down as his second strikeout of the game. Jason Ballard lined into a double play his first time up. It was a hit and run, and Dylan Head was caught off second base as Ballard hit as he takes ball one upstairs. That with a hit right here. He watches a curveball outside, ball two. So the deepest Ford has gone into a game here in this Tiger season. There's ball three upstairs. His previous innings high was 2 innings. But he's behind in the count 3-0, and he has now walked Jason Ballard. So a 1-out walk to the Vikings 3-hole hitter sends Preston Lund to the dish with 1 runner on and 1 out. Lund doubled over Ben Brunig's head and right his first time up. He then came around to score on a sac fly by Isaiah White, the man who was behind him in the order. Another double from Lund would be very appreciated by his Vikings teammates. As he watches a curveball bend in there for strike 1. Pickoff attempt from Ford. Ballard dives back in safely. Ford comes set. 0-1 pitch. Nope. Pickoff attempt yet again. Ballard was leaning a little bit, but he was able to slide back in there. One pitch to Lund. Another curveball. Outside corner. Strike 2. So 2 curveballs have Caden Ford ahead in the count. 0-2 on Preston Lund. Ballard with a little bit bigger of a lead than he has, as Ford notices it and picks off. Ballard, again, is back in there safely. About the same lead for Ballard. Gets a little more. Ford does not pick off, as Lund almost jumps at a ball, but he elects to take it, bringing the count to 1-2. One-two pitch. A backdoor curveball from Caden Ford sends Preston Lund down on strikes.
Now batting, the left fielder number 13, Isaiah White.
So the third strikeout of Caden Ford's day sends Isaiah White to the dish with a runner on first and 2 outs for the Vikings. White has the only Vikings RBI on the day, as his sac fly plated Preston Lund in the second inning. Another pickoff attempt of Ballard. Comes up empty. Ford comes set. Ball 1 upstairs, and Ballard is going to be picked off at first base. Ryan Camella threw behind Jason Ballard and caught him off first base, and that ends the Vikings half of the 4th inning. So at the end of the top of the 4th, it's the Tigers 8 and the Vikings 1. Jake Greger is going to be the first batter for the Tigers here in this bottom of the fourth inning. He singled and reached on an error in his 2 times to the dish. Roseboro starts him with a curveball that he sprays foul down the right field line. Roseboro went 1-2-3 in the bottom of the third, looking to continue that streak here in the bottom of the fourth. 0-1 pitch to Greger is just low, 1-1. Good pitch from Roseboro, but tad low, says the home plate umpire. Evening the count at 1-1. That ball was even lower, as the count is now 2-1. Roseboro works quick, something that can be a pro and a con for pitchers. So it can help you get into a rhythm, but it tires you out. As Greger sends one into the right center field gap, and that's going to be extra bases. No, Ballard cuts it off, but Greger's still going to try for second anyway, as nobody was covering, and he's going to be in there with a leadoff double. So a good piece of hitting by Jake Greger has the leadoff man on for the Tigers.
The right fielder, number 22, Ben Brunig.
The right fielder, Ben Brunig, has 2 singles on the day, 1 to center field and 1 to left field. He's looking for his 3rd single of the day, or 3rd hit. It can be any type of hit. I'm sure he doesn't mind. As he watches strike 1 from Roseboro on the outer third. Oh, 1 pitch to Brunig. He sprays 1 foul. 0-2. Roseboro ahead in the count, 0-2. Fastball on the outer third gets Brunig to K looking. And that's the first out of the Tigers' bottom of the fourth.
The catcher, number 16.
Ryan Camella stands in. He was walked in his last at-bat and was hit by pitch in his first at-bat. So he has technically had 0 plate appearances. He is 0 for 0. As he watches the first pitch on the outer third yet again for Roseboro, 0-1. Roseboro has been peppering that outer third. One blemish was a Jake Greger double to the right center field gap. So he went with that pitch, and that one hit right back to Roseboro, and he's going to have Greger in between third and second, throw to Gunn. Back to Tate, and Tate's going to chase him down, slap the tag on, and Camella advances to second base. So at the end of all that, there's still a runner on second base for the Tigers, but now there's 2 outs.
Number 7, Luke Wright. Courtesy runner for the catcher.
Luke Wright steps in for the Tigers. He grounded into a double play his first time up and then singled. Some heads-up base running by the catcher Camella to get to second, even after all that pickle, as Wright watches strike 1. A 1 pitch from Roseboro. Off the plate. That evens the count at 1-1. Roseboro trying to erase a leadoff double by the first baseman, Jake Greger. Sends one into center field, Head going back on it. He's going to be under it for out number 3. That ball was hit a very long way, but Head was able to chase it down and end the Tigers' half of the fourth. At the end of the fourth inning, it's the Vikings 1 and the Tigers 8. Isaiah White is going to lead things off for the Vikings in the top of the fifth. White came to the plate in the top of the fourth, but then was sent back to the dugout as Jason Ballard was picked off at first base. Isaiah White has the only Vikings RBI on the day as his sacrifice fly in the second inning plated Preston Lund from third after his double and then advanced to third on an error. White squares bunt, pulls back as that curveball almost broke into him. Appeal did not. He pulled back. 1-0. Caden Ford back out for his fifth inning of work as that ball down by Isaiah White's feet. 2-0. Vikings trying to claw back from a 7-run deficit. They have to get some runners aboard to do that as Isaiah White is trying to help that cause as he's ahead in the count 3-0. Pitch from Ford. Downstairs, ball 4. So a 4-pitch walk to the leadoff man, Isaiah White. Sends Corey Mulling to the dish with a runner on first and nobody out. Mulling grounded to first his first time up in the second inning. He is the Vikings doubles leader with 3. One of those right here would be greatly appreciated as he takes ball 1 upstairs. That's 5 in a row from Ford. Camella calls time. Going out to have a chat with Ford. Back to baseball here as Mulling is ahead in the count, 1-0. Evening the count, 1-1 on a fastball from Ford. 1-1 pitch from Ford. Mulling sends one high into the blue sky. Akers coming in on it, calls for it, and he comes up with it. The wind made that a difficult play for the shortstop Akers, but he comes down with it. And that's the first out of the Vikings, top of the fifth. Josh Moore, the catcher, stepping in for the Vikings. He flied to center his first time up. Ball 1 is high and out. Vikings have had the leadoff man on in 3 out of the 5 innings. Only one has come around to score as Moore pops one again. Thompson calling for it, and that ball is going to fall, and Isaiah White is going to be on second base cleanly, and that's going to go as a single for Josh Moore as nobody touched it, so can't be an error on anybody.
The third baseman, number 12, Jacob Gunn.
The third baseman, Jacob Gunn,
at first base,
stepping in.
Bennett Wright.
Bennett Reich is the courtesy runner for Josh Moore at first base. Moore, the catcher, is allowed to rest his legs and get ready for the next inning. But Jacob Gunn is going to have 2 runners on and 1 out. Isaiah White at second, Reich at first, as Caden Ford calls the catcher Ryan Camella out to talk, as they're probably just changing signs, as Isaiah White on second base could relay them to Jacob Gunn if they figure them out, but probably just changing them. Pitch to Gunn. Top of the zone, strike 1. Gunn behind in the count, 0-1. Pickoff attempt, and nobody's home to pick off Isaiah White. And that's going to be a balk from the starting pitcher, Caden Ford, as I believe he twitched before he picked off, or since Thompson, the second baseman, was not covering the bag, so that is a balk, as you can't just throw it to any fielder. A 1 pitch is outside, evening the count at 1-1. Thompson was just standing there. If he had made a move to second base, so that was the reason for the balk. But the Vikings have 2 runners in scoring position now and only 1 out. 1-1 pitch. Fouled straight back. 1-2. Gunn behind the count, 1-2. Looking to plate 2 runners for the Vikings. That ball is low, evening the count, 2-2. That balk for the Vikings was big, as that takes the double play out of the picture. 2-2 pitch. Outside, full count to Jacob Gunn. A good at bat by the third baseman here. Hopefully he can stand on first base, potentially even loading the bases. Full count pitch from Ford. Inside, and that hits Jacob Gunn, I believe. Or no, it did not, as Isaiah White and now Bennett Reich is going to come around and score. But I believe all of this is going to be for naught, as the base umpire has a hit by pitch. So both runners are going to have to go back to the bases, as that's what I thought happened, because the ball kicked away from the catcher, Camella, as it just didn't seem like Camella came up with it cleanly, because he didn't, because it hit Jacob Gunn's foot. So, umpire's doing some talking, but from my angle, it looked like it was a hit by pitch, but everybody is staying where they are, so I guess that's 2 runs for the Vikings. So, 2 runs come around to score on a wild pitch from Caden Ford, and Jacob Gunn is now standing on second base, and Demir Heidelberg is at the dish. That one hits Heidelberg. So that one did hit Heidelberg. I'm just not going to comment on either of those, since I didn't really have the best angle on that one, but it appeared to me like the one hit Gunn, but oh well. Runners on first and second now for the leadoff man, Dylan Head. The center fielder singled to center his first time up, and then grounded into a fielder's choice his second time up, and then was subsequently called out on runner's interference by Demir Heidelberg, as Jack Thompson and Landon Akers are trying to turn a double play, but then Heidelberg slid into Akers at shortstop, as Head takes ball 1, low and outside. And one swing of the bat for the Vikings by Head could cut this Tigers lead to only 2, as Head does have the power to do that, and the St. X coach is coming out to talk to Ford, likely just going over plan of attack on how he wants to pitch to one of the top baseball players in the country, and the top baseball player in the state of Illinois. So the Vikings have gone walk, pop out, single, walk, hit by pitch to score 2, as Isaiah White has scored and Bennett Reich, the pinch runner for Josh Moore, scored. Jacob Gunn is on second. Demir Heidelberg is on first. Dylan Head is at the plate with a 1-0 count on him. Pitch to Head. Grounded towards Thompson yet again. He has one play, and it's only to first base, as he beats Dylan Head to the base. That's going to be the second out of the Vikings inning. It sends Caden Wesley to the dish. He's going to pinch hit for the shortstop, Rob Tate. He's going to have runners on second and third with 2 outs. Rob Tate was 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts on the day. So perhaps that's why Caden Wesley's getting an at-bat here. First pitch from Ford is in there for a strike, 0-1. You never want to swing at the first pitch you see when coming off the bench. Just want to get your eyes acclimated to the pitcher. But Wesley behind in the count, 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. So the Vikings threatening to strand 2 runners in scoring position as Ford is ahead in the count, 0-2 on the pinch hitter, Caden Wesley. That fastball's on the outer third, gets Caden Wesley looking on 3 pitches. That ends the Vikings' half of the 5th inning, but 2 runners come around to score. It cuts the Tigers' lead to 5, and in the middle of the 5th inning, it's the Tigers 8 and the Vikings 3. Leading things off here in the Tigers' half of the 5th inning, it's going to be the second baseman, Jack Thompson. He's 1 for 2 on the day as he watches strike 1 on the outside corner from Trent Roseboro. His 1 hit was a single to right field in the 2nd inning. Almost the exact same pitch from Roseboro. Does not get the call this time. Evening the count. 1-1 pitch, hit on the ground to Nico Bilgi at short, replacing Rob Tate. That's going to be the first out of the Tigers' half of the 5th inning. Didn't even get a chance to tell you that Nico Bilgi has replaced Rob Tate at short. Caden Wesley was only in the game to see 3 pitches, as Nico is now at shortstop. Kyle Krupp squared bunt, but then pulled back for ball 1. Krupp is 0 for 2 on the day. He grounded to third and first, so both corners of the infield. As he watches strike 1. Evening the count at 1-1. He sprays 1 foul down the third base line, 1-2. If Krupp can get on base, this top of the Tigers order has been a thorn in the Vikings side all day, as the leadoff man Tice Flaker is 2 for 3. As Krupp watches a curveball low and inside, ball 2. 2-2 pitch from Roseboro. Lined back up the middle, and Dylan Head is going to lay out and not come up with it. That's going to roll to the wall, and Krupp is likely going to have an inside-the-park home run. He's going to get waved around third, and he's going to be stopped at third base. A good relay throw by Isaiah White and Nico Bilgi has Kyle Krupp stopped at third with a 1-out triple. That turns the lineup card over for the Tigers as Tice Flaker, the left fielder, steps in. He's 2 for 3 with a single and a double on the day. Dylan Head almost made that play as he laid out, came up empty. That one in center field again, and Dylan Head does come up with it this time, and Krupp is going to tag and score, but a diving play by Dylan Head keeps the speedy leadoff man, Tice Flaker, off the bases. But a run does come in for the Tigers, so that extends their lead back to 6. Landon Akers, the shortstop, stepping in. He's 1 for 2 on the day with a walk. He watches a curveball from Roseboro break in there for strike 1. He got the scoring started in the bottom of the first with an RBI single plating Tice Flaker. It's ball 1 upstairs from Roseboro. Count is even, 1-1. The wind, the pitch from Roseboro. Outside corner, strike 2. Roseboro's done a good job of commanding that outside corner all day. One-two pitch to Akers. Curveball, up and out. 2-2. That one was just a little outside the zone. Count is even, 2-2. Swing and a miss from Akers. Roseboro retires the shortstop, but not before a triple from Kyle Krupp and a sac fly from Tice Flaker plates another run in for the Tigers, extending their lead to 6. At the end of the 5th inning, it's the Tigers 9 and the Vikings 3. Top of the 6th inning in this Vikings and Tigers game. Jason Ballard stepping in, leading things off for the Vikings. In his 2 at-bats, he's lined into a double play and walked. After his walk, he was then picked off at first base to end the 4th inning. As he sends one high into the sky, into left field, that ball is carrying, and that ball is gone. A leadoff homer to start the 6th inning for Jason Ballard has the Vikings' 4th run of the game. That ball got up into the wind, and it just blew out there. The fence is 330 down the left field line, and that ball was likely hit about 340, 345, as Ballard got all of that one. That's his 2nd home run on the year, taking the lead in the Vikings home run column. Preston Lund, the DH, stepping in. He's doubled and struck out on the day. So he chops one towards Smith at third base. A good play by the third baseman, Cooper Smith, and a nice pick by the first baseman, Jake Greger, has the Vikings' first out of the top of the 6th. Isaiah White stepping in. He has a sac fly and a walk on the day. So he pops one up yet again. Thompson under it. He's going to make the play. The wind is making all balls in the air very tricky to play, but Thompson has made a few good plays, settling under balls hitting into the air. But the second baseman, no, excuse me, this is going to be a pinch hit opportunity for Elijah Rainey.
Correction, pinch hitting, number 4, Elijah Rainey.
So, looks like Corey Mulling's day was done. The second baseman was 0 for 2 on the day with a ground ball to first base and a pop-up to short. Rainey watches the first pitch upstairs, ball 1. So after the homer from Ballard, 2 quick outs for the starter Caden Ford on the mound for his 6th inning of work. As Rainey watches ball 2. Sends one right back up the middle. And good play by Akers. Gets out, throws out Elijah Rainey. That ball had so much spin that it hit the turf and then just stopped rolling up the middle. A phenomenal play by Landon Akers retires Elijah Rainey. At the end of the top of the 6th inning, it's the Vikings 4 and the Tigers 9. The Tigers' half of the 6th inning, Cooper Smith. As he watches ball 1 outside from Roseboro. Roseboro back on the mound for his 3rd inning of work. No, excuse me, 4th. Ball 2, high and out. Smith's last time up, he grounded to the 3rd baseman, Jacob Gunn. As he watches ball 3. So there's strike 1 from Roseboro. I will note that Corey Mulling, the second baseman, has re-entered for himself after Elijah Rainey batted for him. As Smith sends one into left field, and that's going to clang off the left field fence. Smith is going to be standing on second base with a leadoff double. That ball one-hopped the fence and got over Isaiah White's head. So the Tigers have a runner in scoring position and nobody out. Jay Greger stepping in for the Tigers. He's 2 for 2 on the day and reached on another error. He sends one down the right field line, foul. He's singled and doubled on the day. Came around to score. Roseboro heading the count 0-1. Checks on Cooper Smith at second. Count is still 0-1. That slider cutter from Roseboro to Greger in there for strike number 2. Roseboro heading the count 0-2. Looking to put away Greger on strikes. 0-2 pitch. in the dirt. Good block by Moore to keep Smith where he's at second base. 1-2. Roseboro still ahead in the count, 1-2. Low again, evening count. 2-2 on the first baseman, Jake Greger. Count is even. 2-2, nobody out. Cooper Smith is on second. He's going to take off for third. That ball's lined into left field, and Cooper Smith is going to score easily on a hit and run, or not exactly a hit and run, as opposed to a straight steal with a hit. So Jake Greger has his first RBI of the day and his third hit of the day. And that extends this Tigers lead to 6. The right fielder, Ben Brunig, stands in. He's 2 for 3 with 2 singles and an RBI on the day as he watches ball 1 outside. A good pitch there from Roseboro, but a better take by Brunig. Brunig watches strike 1 on the inside corner, evening the count at 1-1. Roseboro steps off, checking on Greger at first. Ball 2 is off the plate yet again, similar to that first pitch Roseboro threw. The 2-1 pitch is in the dirt for ball 3. So Brunig ahead in the count, 3-1. And there's strike 2 from Roseboro. That one looked to be either a perfect pitch from Roseboro or a bit off the plate. But either way, the count is full, 3-2. Full count pitch is low. So that's going to send Greger to second base and Brunig to first for the catcher, Ryan Camella. Camella has grounded into a fielder's choice that got Jake Greger into a pickle between second and third. He was hit by pitch and also walked on the day, as pitching coach Vince Davis coming out to have a chat with Roseboro. Roseboro, this is the first inning that he's struggled, per se, as a leadoff double and then an RBI single has the Tigers threatening to score even more than the one run that they've already scored. The wind is picking back up here. It had died down for the start of this inning, but now it's, I wouldn't say howling, but it's definitely blowing. So, mound meeting comes to a conclusion. But Ryan Camella stepping into the box with 2 runners on and nobody out. Camella calls time. Pitch to Camella is grounded foul down the third base line. Roseboro, and the count on 1. It's one off Roseboro. Bilgi comes up with it, flips to Mulling at second base. That's going to go as a fielder's choice. So Gregor advances to third. Brunig is out at second base, and Camella is at first base.
Luke Wright, courtesy runner at first base for the catch, number 2.
Luke Wright, the DH, stepping in for the Tigers. He flied to center his last time up, ending the 4th inning. He's also singled and grounded into a double play on the day. As he takes strike 1. Roseboro steps off. Camella and Gregor both scamper back to their respective bases. Gregor on third, Camella on first. A curveball from Roseboro is a bit low, 1-1. Wright trying to extend this Tigers lead to 7 or potentially even 8 as he comes up empty on a swing on a Roseboro fastball, 1-2. Roseboro, 1 strike away from his 3rd strikeout of the game. He takes ball 2 in the dirt. Evening the count, 2-2. If Roseboro can get a ground ball, double play is in order for the Vikings. As he lines one past the dive of Nico Bilgi into left field, and that's going to be another run for the Tigers. An RBI single scores Jake Gregor from third base, and the lead is now 11-4. Jack Thompson stepping to the dish. He's 1 for 3 on the day. He's got runners on first and second with 1 out. As that ball gets through the wickets of Josh Moore, and both runners are going to move up 90 feet. So now the double play is not in order for the Vikings anymore. And the Tigers have 2 runners in scoring position.
No, it should be right. It should be right. I'm sorry. 11, 14, 2, 4, 5, 2.
1-0 pitch from Roseboro is low, ball 2. So Roseboro behind in the count, 2-0 to Thompson. That pitch on the outer third of the plate brings the count to 2-1.
Wait, no. The 5th run of the game. Yes.
Camella on third, Wright on second base. Ball 3 to Thompson. Roseboro has a base open, but you would want to go at the bottom of the Tigers order. 3-1 pitch from Roseboro is lined back up the middle for an RBI single, and that's not going to score 2 as Wright is stopped at third base, and Thompson has his 2nd hit of the day, and it's his first RBI of the day.
The center fielder, number 4, Kyle Krupp.
The final hitter in this Tigers lineup, Kyle Krupp. He's tripled to left center field, past a dive of Dylan Head, and grounded into third base and grounded to first base in his other 2 at-bats. He sends one into center field again, Head going back on it, under it, gets the 2nd out of the Vikings inning, And another run comes in to score for the Tigers, and the lead is now 12-4. So a sac fly from Kyle Krupp sends the leadoff man Tice Flaker to the dish.
Tice Flaker.
Flaker is 2 for 3 on the day with a sac fly sprinkled in there. He's doubled and singled, has 2 runs scored of the Tigers' 13. As he sends one into the left center field gap, head racing over. He will not come up with it. Tyson Flaker is going to be on third base with a triple. And that has the Tigers up 14-4. And that is going to do it for this game. So the Tigers run rule the Vikings in Louisville. A rough day on the mound for the Vikings against a very good St. Xavier Tigers team. The Vikings will have a chance for revenge tomorrow at the same place at the same time against the same team. But they fall 14-4 in the contest today. For everybody here at the HF Viking baseball team, I'm Dylan Barnes. Good night, everybody.